Yo, welcome to episode 133 of the China Show. If you just excuse me for just 1 second.
Sure. Left your monitor on?
No, for some reason, I guess I must have been had a window open. Anyway, I'm back. So everybody, welcome to another important China Show. We've got a lot in store for you today. And we're just going to saunter right into it today. So let's go into What's New, where we talk about what's new, in China. Mm-hmm. And we're going to start by going to Japan.
Interesting. That's what we do.
Yeah. So as we all know, Halloween has just passed. And we had some revelers in Japan wearing some pretty interesting Halloween costumes. In fact, if we take a look here, it's quite interesting. We've got the dabai, as they're called, in the front, which are the sanitation, the COVID. What am I saying? The COVID stormtroopers. You know, the guys in the white suits.
Yeah.
Hazmat suits. That's why they call dabai, means big white. And they're carrying the Chinese flag. And this is a pretty interesting Halloween costume. And you're not allowed to do that in China. In fact, I've got some footage. We might show it if it's relevant in the future. But some foreigners decided that they'd try to wear that in Shanghai and went out drinking, and they got beat up by the police and arrested.
That's right.
Anyway, so you got the dabai, and then what do we have behind the dabai there?
They're mocking Hu Jintao, the previous leader of China, being purged. And they have the folder, the mystical folder that was on the table in front of them. So I just thought that was a funny one.
Okay, now this clip we're going to show you here is something that's recently just been making the rounds on the internet, and these are Chinese students doing what would you say, speed studying?
Yeah, kind of like cramming, like speed reading / like cramming for a test.
Sounds like they're talking in tongues, to be honest. Let's take a look.
Dedication right there. Pause it for a second.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you have a education system built on testing. It's only testing. So basically, everyone studies for the test, and the test is the reason you get through to other things. There's no really performance-based or critical-based things or application-based, type of qualifications. It's, did you get the score on the test? So can you be placed in this university, in this school, and in this job?
Well, I've got an anecdote here because I was kind of dating a girl once, and she had to pass a certain test for whatever particular reason, but she knew nothing about the subject. And they have very special schools, kind of like they are there to teach you how to pass the test.
Only for the test.
Only for the test.
Yeah, I know.
And so I guess they either have inside knowledge and they get the actual test themselves.
Oh, yeah. That's oftentimes.
I mean, that happened when I was at the Shenzhen University. Our teacher, because they wanted our class to perform well, showed us the test before the test and went through all the questions with us. But, the fact is you have these kind of cram schools that are just there for passing the test, not to learn the subject.
No.
That's kind of what we're seeing here, I presume. But this reminded us of something, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
It just reminded us of something pretty cool that we saw recently. I'll show it to you.
I'm the fastest reader in the world. I read a 1,679 pages book within 2 seconds.
Yes. Go on. What is it?
It was fast, so you didn't know.
What just happened now? What did you learn from the book that you just read? You said what?
The first one is pretty good.
I will chew your meat. Are you crazy? Think I have to joke with you?
I like how
I just read. I can read fast.
Anybody can do what you just did. What kind of talent is this?
Yeah!
Yeah.
That's good
Yeah.
stuff.
So yeah, that's a lot of parallels over there.
Yeah.
Anyway, now remember, not that long ago, in fact, for quite a while, we've been calling this. Okay. We've been saying that the Chinese government is going to start to force people to have children.
You know, like, it's one of those things where it sounds so crazy and so outlandish, but we never make claims unless we think almost for certainty that something's going to happen.
Sure.
And here we are again, right? At least the beginning stages of
Beginning
being proven
stages.
right about this. So what happened was there was a woman, newlywed woman, and she got called up by the Nanjing government.
So
Nanjing
the
local
government called her.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, when I say local government, again, everything's tied to the central government in some way.
It's the government.
The government of China called her up. They said, "Hey, when are you planning on having a baby? Right? When are you gonna give birth?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "What are you talking? Why is this your business?"
Sure.
Right? So she posted online. Everyone's like,
It's like, yeah.
no."
Yeah. Because they're like, oh, you're married now, so isn't it about time you had a child?
Yeah. So this is the issue: is that it wasn't even coaxing. It was like, when are you going to?
Yeah,
you have to. How do you say "ingaide" in English?
Yeah,
It's
you
like,
must.
You must. You
suppose,
must
yeah.
do this.
Yeah.
But implied.
It's like obliged.
Obliged. Yeah.
You're obliged to do
obliged.
this. Yeah.
So here was the deal. She posted it on Weibo or online, and she got tens of thousands of comments because people started freaking out because guess what? The suspicions turned out to be true. The stuff that we've been claiming for probably a year or two now, that the government has gone from you got to abort your baby if you have more than one to, oh crap, we screwed up because the demographic crisis is piling up.
So
Maybe
yeah,
people should
have two. You can have two, and then nobody's having two. They're
Nobody's
like,
having two. They're like,
we'll give you tax breaks.
we'll give you tax breaks, incentives.
Yeah.
Then like, okay, you can have three. Okay, now you can have unlimited,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of like when they came out with Captain Crunch and it was Crunch Berries.
Sure.
And it was Oops All Berries.
Sure,
and it
it's
was
just getting
Oops
too
Cocoa
much.
Donuts. We're at
Yeah.
Oops Cocoa Donuts stage. And now we're going to where, oh no, it's not Oops Cocoa Donuts. You don't get the choice to have your Oops Cocoa Donuts. You got to have children. We're going to make you have children. And people are like, don't, guys, you're crazy. They can't go that far. Right?
Sure.
You don't know. You got to understand China.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? You got to understand.
Where is that even? I'm losing the moment here. I've moved these things around. I'm gonna. That's great. That's nice. It's.
Did we lose it?
No, there it is.
You gotta understand, China.
Sorry.
You got to understand China's birth policies. Now,
Yeah.
this was the reason that this was speculated and so worrying for a lot of people is because at the 20th Congress, Party Congress, where Xi Jinping gets in front of everyone and is like, this is what we're going to do with the country. He talked about how China was going to boost birth rates.
Yes.
Right. This is coming off the heels of Chairman Deng Xiaoping era, like really strict.
I mean, why
policy.
do you get to say who's gonna have children or not?
Right.
No, that's the thing.
So he gets in front of everyone. He's like, we're going to boost births.
Yeah,
in China.
we're gonna
We're
boost
get rid of
birth
this demographic collapse, right? And we're going to improve the country's population development strategy, as translates to. So what happened was people hear this and then they see this online, they put two and two together and they go, oh crap, like the government's probably going to start making us have kids.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to start pestering you. And that's the worst thing is if they're asking, like, when do you plan to have children? They're sitting there with a notebook, right? And they've got, like, a database. They're like, okay, this person's married. They're planning to have children, at this time, blah, 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 blah.
Correct.
And what if you say, I don't plan to have children or I'm not planning for a while?
Right.
What's going to happen? They're probably going to start leaning on you. And be
You got
like,
a bunch of things.
must.
You got social credit. You have tax. You have, tax liability is something that China holds over people's heads all the time because a lot of the vast majority of the country doesn't pay tax.
Yeah,
so you
they
can always
just
have that. It's actually by design. It's leverage. You can always have a tax official go out and harass someone for any reason.
Yeah.
Because you have that over them, right? Everyone is liable to that. So people start freaking out and they're putting two and two together and they're like, oh no, this is not good. So what would make this even more suspicious? What would make this even like to the point where you'd be like, there's something really going on here?
Well, they censor everything.
They've removed it all.
They deleted all discussion of this. They deleted the original post. You can't find it. No one's allowed to talk about it. They censored keywords that are related to it. You know, the usual thing they do, sweep it under the carpet.
Pretty sus.
Very sus. So, yeah, we suspect, again, that in the future, in the near future perhaps, people are going to be kind of coerced into having children, if not outright forced.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of scary.
It is not cool.
No, it's not cool.
This is supposed to be the lighthearted section, guys. We apologize.
Yeah.
It's a little heavy there.
Well, what do we got next? Are we going to be talking about this ridiculous stock market thing?
We are. Actually, go a little further. There should be I put a picture over this inane, well, it didn't show up. So the stock market is for Chinese stocks, U.S. listed Chinese stocks.
They all really like took a huge dive recently.
Yeah, I mean, the Chinese economy is in the dirt.
Yeah.
It's plummeting. The yuan is at an all-time low. That all shifted pretty much overnight because what happened was the Hang Seng index went up more than 5%, which is huge. The rest of the world's like, right?
Yeah.
Hang Seng index, Chinese listed stock, or U.S. listed Chinese stocks, boom, straight to the moon, right?
Yeah.
And people are freaking out. They're like, what is this economic recovery? The yuan recovers, right?
It was doing very bad, and now it's just recovered.
It's like it's a massive, unprecedented like blow up, and everyone's like, "What the hell's going on?" And I want to show you how like this maybe even supersedes China, but like how crazy fragile the world is becoming, because all this stuff can be, you know, hinged on a tweet or a rumor or a leak like this. This leaked document gets out, right, or leaked WeChat message, I should say.
Sure.
And it's not an article. It's not it's like a private conversation.
Yeah.
Okay. It's leaked, and it goes into saying, oh, by March, China's zero COVID policy. So, you know, by the way, if you haven't been around, the whole thing is that China's still doing zero COVID, which means there's lockdowns all over the place.
It's affecting businesses, factories, economy.
It's destroyed the economy.
It's destroyed the economy, yeah.
It's really upended people's lives. And they said in this, you know, leaked document, basically, that by March, they would be looking at methods on how to liberalize zero COVID, open up China again, get vaccines rolled out, all this kind of stuff, right? And they refer to Xi Jinping, you know, the dictator of China, as the big boss, right? So there's code words throughout here to make it more believable, obviously. And it gets out there, and it's enough to cause like $1 trillion spike in the stock market. This rando screenshot. Yeah. Right? That's how opaque China is.
Yeah.
Is that people do this and they look at it and they're like, well, the economy's in the dirt. China is obviously the future because everyone keeps telling me this. My bank, my investment manager, everyone keeps telling me China's the future. So while it's low, let's buy. Right? They're going to open up again. This is where it all changes, and everyone's like, "Yeah!" It shows you
jumping on. It's just greed, dude.
It's like people hanging up behind a fence, going like this, just like over and over again. Please open, and everyone like us is telling the world like, "Why are you investing in China?
Sure,
they want you to die.
They want to take your money and use it against you.
Yes, like what are you doing, right?" And then people are like, "Yo, please give me the opportunity to invest in China."
Yeah,
as we see Germany doing about it.
Yeah,
we'll
exactly.
talk about that later. But long story short. This crazy bad quality screenshot is enough to put $1 trillion.
It's a rumor.
It's a rumor.
But it was allowed to spread on the Chinese internet.
And that's what makes it so obvious to me.
Yeah.
China, with the biggest rumor fighting police force in the world.
Yes.
You know, we're spreading rumors.
It's a crime.
Throw you in jail. Right?
It's a crime to spread rumors in China.
So why would this be allowed to proliferate? To me, it looks like it was by design.
Of course it's by design.
Pump and dump.
Yeah, they just want people to jump in and, you know, throw their money, invest into China so they can use that money to help their flagging economy, you know?
Yeah.
Basically.
All the Fs.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on from the stock market segment of this financial report.
Yeah, we don't
brought to you by
that.
Seamilk.
This was a big deal, so.
And let's actually answer a couple of super chats before we hit our main segment today.
Sure.
Which is, you know, why China's on the brink. You know, we're going to tell you.
Jim Flank, chatting early, but he couldn't make the show, but I appreciate it. Quinn F says, Matt, I regret to inform you, Sina is hunting you for food and decided to hunt Winston as a mate. She again wishes to state that she is who beautifully not a hoe and ox are all idiotics.
Okay.
This is getting worrying. The speech is becoming garbled, and I'm worried about Sina's intentions.
Me too.
Gabriel Keane, hey guys, I got my paycheck today, and I just want to chime in with my weekly contribution. Thank you for everything you
appreciate that
do.
very much. Thank you.
And never talking crepe.
Yeah,
Thank
okay.
you for saying it correctly.
Don't talk tribe.
Seriously, thank you.
Don't talk crepes, or I'll get hungry.
Yeah.
If the CCP falls, drinks in Dandong are on me. That's awesome. Where would we be having those drinks?
Oh, we'd probably have them in the
Port of Dandong.
In the port. That's where we would go.
In the port of
We'd meet
Dandong.
in the port.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If China does, by the way, if there's like some drastic regime change and like U.S. relations in China becomes amazing and they love us again, because like all the people that hate us are deposed, which will never happen. Just saying, if that happens, first place we're going is Port of Dandong.
Sure, why
we'll
not?
have a live broadcast there.
Yeah, why not? That'd be fun. We move on?
Yes.
Let's move on. Okay. Soft Power Hour, everybody, where we talk about how China is trying to change your mind and the mind of Chinese people too. It's just one of those things. So you may have heard of this little thing called an iPhone.
Little.
It's, well, the original ones are kind of little. They're getting much bigger.
They got tiny, didn't they?
Anyway, the biggest iPhone factory in Zhengzhou, well, there's been some problems there.
Yeah? Like what?
Well, some people died, apparently. Okay. Now, this is apparently, because they kind of deny it, but one of the dorm rooms, which had, I think, 8 people in it, apparently all 8 people inside the dorm died. They were under lockdown, okay? COVID lockdown stuff, usual stuff, you know, not allowed to leave your room. They give you like a pittance of food. You don't know what's going on. Anyway, apparently the people died in this dorm room.
Sure.
Whether that's true or not, we cannot say.
Right.
What is true is that the factory, which this huge factory, this compound, which has 200,000 people in it. Now, can you imagine 200,000 people?
Well, that's the population of where I grew up. For the whole city.
I mean, that's the thing. You can imagine maybe like 50 people in a place, maybe 100 people. Let's put 1,000. Now you're talking about a lot of people.
Or you could say 4,000 people. That's how many people are watching us right now.
Oh, that's excellent. Yeah. So you've got that many people, let's say more. And then just multiply that by however much. That many people.
By that many.
Yeah, that many
whatever
people.
number that is.
Yeah, just
you
multiply
that. Yeah.
Work out the math. You do the work, okay? But no, quite seriously.
It's 5, times 50.
Dude,
so.
200,000 people is a huge amount. Like you say, it's a population of a city in this factory, okay? Yeah. So they decide they're going to lock everybody down. People are tired of these lockdowns, by the way. Let's just be honest. It's not worth it. Think about it. You're earning your very minimal wage as a factory worker. And the way it works in China is most people are migrant workers that work in factories. Okay, so they come from a small hometown somewhere. They're living out in a rural area. Their life is very simple. Okay, it's very cheap. They don't have to pay for anything. Everything is dirt cheap, but you live in a dirt poor situation. You go to the city for a couple of months to a year, maybe 2 years, 5 years max, earn a lot of money, go back to your rural countryside, and you live there with the money you've earned. You can live for like a decade. You know, a lot of people do that in China. They'll go in and work for a year, go back to their hometown, and then they can just chill out for 5 years on what they've earned, and then they go work for another year and rinse and repeat, right?
Yeah.
So you've got these people, they're earning a very small amount in the factory, and they're willing to live in these cramped conditions, all crammed into tiny little dormitories, and they work very long hours, and it's not a good existence, to be honest. But now imagine you're told you now have to be quarantined and locked down. So now you're stuck. You're not earning money anymore, right? When you're stuck in your dorm.
No.
Because you can't be working. You're under lockdown. Your freedom of movement is stuck. You're hearing about people dying. You're just like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
And that's what happened, okay, is this mass exodus of people. Tens of thousands of people, apparently. They're all like, screw it. So they try to leave. You can see some footage behind us here. And the way they left is on foot. Because, of course, you can't get on a train. Because of the lockdowns, you can't board a plane. None of them can afford that anyway.
No.
Migrant workers like this don't have money for a plane ticket or even a train ticket. They'd have to take a slow train. Now, apparently, groups of them organized buses to come and pick them up from their hometowns. They kind of clubbed together and phone or whatever, but they weren't allowed to leave. So they were trying to walk out, okay, on the highways to get out of the city so that they could find a way, get picked up or whatever, right? Get their way home. But they were being blocked, as you can see, by walls of Dabai.
Yeah.
Basically, the police and everyone's been trying to stop them from leaving. The factory's been trying to stop them from leaving, trying to offer them, higher wages if they stay. But people are finding any way possible to get back to their hometowns, whether it be on the back of trucks or on foot, as you can see them walking there with their luggage and just sitting on the side of the road. And it's a crazy situation. It's like a zombie apocalypse kind of a situation where people are just trying to escape the city, you know?
Yeah.
Escape the disgusting, terrible conditions they're in and escape the lockdowns, you know?
Yeah.
It's pretty intense if you think about what's going on.
Oh, it's so poorly planned. I mean, this really just shows you that there was no thought about the zero COVID thing.
Yeah.
There's no like, they're like, oh, this is a great control mechanism. We can change everyone's app from green to yellow to red to lock people down in a certain place.
Yeah.
But they don't really think about, hey, maybe people will freak out and not want to be in that lockdown, right? And they're going to go to crazy measures to get out of that situation.
Yeah.
And that's their worst nightmare.
Yeah.
You know?
Because people are just leaving. And, you know, it's just a horrible situation to see people having to walk for who knows how long on the highways, brave the elements, you know, in this terrible weather and, you know, with their luggage and stuff, just to try and get home, to try and escape these brutal lockdowns.
Yeah.
It's really just a ridiculous kind of a situation.
Pig trucks, you know?
Yeah. You know, in Shanghai, there's a foreigner who they would lock down the school or whatever, and he escaped because he was like, F this. So they said lockdown. Like
he wasn't
these guys.
positive. He was just
No,
in the
there was
lockdown,
just
yeah.
like a... So he escaped and ran back to his home, like his, you know, his apartment complex. But because he'd been there, I'll get back to this, because he'd been in that lockdown area, you know, because if you're in a lockdown area, your phone, your QR code will go yellow or red or whatever, right? So because he'd been in that lockdown area, he ran to his apartment, so then his whole building went into lockdown.
It's
because
like
of him.
contagious.
The app is contagious, not him. And he actually got arrested, and he's in jail for 3 weeks.
Oh, 3 weeks, okay.
But still, he got arrested for
He'll
doing
get
that.
deported as well. Probably.
I'm pretty sure. It was a dumb thing for him to do,
Yeah.
thinking he could get away with it. That's the thing. You're monitored so closely.
I don't think people realize how much they have this lockdown. As crazy as this looks, it's chaos, right?
Yeah.
But the actual like the physical evidence of you leaving and trying to get away or going to different places, you never escape that.
No.
You're never going to be off the grid.
That's the thing. These apps that you have on your phone, which have your QR code, your green or yellow or red QR code, it's tied to your location.
Yeah.
You cannot turn off locations on it, right? So wherever you go, the app knows. Right?
Gulliman Rogers 666 says, "Turn off your phone, goddammit." No. You can't just turn off your phone.
Can't.
It still follows you.
That's the thing. You need that app.
Yes.
Okay. You need that app in order to access anything.
Anything. You can't buy tickets. You can't. Half of the freaking supermarkets you can't even get into.
No, you can't get into supermarkets. You cannot get into your home complex. You need to scan it. You can't get into a shopping mall. You can't do anything without that code. So, I mean, not only does it geo track you where you walk, but every time it gets scanned, even if it's scanned, then it knows exactly where you are at any given time from when it's been scanned, you know?
These people you guys are so... Are really thoughtful to think about ways they can get around this. But I'm telling you, you can't. Turning off your phone doesn't stop the GPS location.
If you try to disable your tracking in any way, shape, or form, you will be penalized for it. They will get you for messing with it. You know,
phone off, SIM card out. Then you can't do anything. You can't live.
Yeah.
You can't shop. You can't buy anything. You can't do anything.
You can't board a train. You can't. You know, you can't.
You can't pay a bill.
Nope.
You can't buy a meal.
No.
You can't go to the supermarket. You can't put your kid in school.
Nope.
You can't get in a taxi. You
Nope.
can't get on the train. You can't get on. You literally can't do anything.
No, there's nothing you can't.
You can't use the internet.
No, you need to have your QR code that says you're green.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, is it's so embedded. And I think that's what people don't seem to understand in the West, is they take freedoms for granted, like being able to just do your own thing.
Yeah.
Like being able to turn off your phone if you don't want to be monitored. But you can't do that in China because they've built the system so that you can't do it.
Yes.
Anyway, now we're going to move on to perhaps a fairly familiar scene. I don't know if you guys remember this, but remember Wuhan pool party? Does anyone remember this? Where like Wuhan, where the COVID came from, right?
Yes.
From Wuhan. The initial outbreak was there. And then,
no, it's where it came from too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's where it came from, and that's the initial outbreak was there.
Can I have a cough drop, please?
Yeah, sure. Here you go. Drop the cough. Anyway, so they had this massive pool party to celebrate that. Oh, guess what? We've beaten COVID, and while the rest of the world suffers, we're going to show off that our zero COVID
It was
works.
actually by design. It was like a big middle finger. It was like, you guys are in lockdown, but we got rid of COVID in the beginning.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, most of America was like, what do you mean lockdown? Because like, it wasn't like China. It wasn't like China-style lockdown.
Dude, do you know that a lot of the foreigners that are still in China that I talk to, and some of the people that can't stand our guts and so on, they still think that for some reason they're all safe and the rest of the world is all suffering and like in a bad way.
Yeah, so not the people I'm friends with, but they're friends with people there or know people there that are convinced like, holy crap, we dodged a bullet by being in China here.
Yeah.
Because like then now we don't have to die of COVID. And their friends are like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
What are you talking about
Exactly.
dying of COVID right now?
It's like that. It's this weird delusion that everyone outside of China is suffering from COVID in a very bad way, that people in China are healthy and safe and everything's okay. But it's the opposite. In China, it's just horrible stories about people getting stuck in these terrible situations because of the lockdowns, people dying of starvation, mental health issues, suicide, all this crap that's going on. The rest of the world is just kind of the way it was before COVID.
Yeah.
You're not getting tested every day or twice a day sometimes, or every 48 hours. You're not getting this thing shoved down your nose and you're not locked in your apartment or wherever it is.
Anyway, they did this pool party.
Yeah.
To laugh at the world and say, look, we beat it. We suffered the lockdowns, but now we get to have a pool party. Everyone gets to have so much fun.
Yeah.
Doesn't that look fun to be crammed all together like that?
Actually doesn't look like fun at all, to be honest.
It looks absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Anyway, they had this crazy, outlandish pool party as basically like
It was
counter propaganda.
It was propaganda, but now guess what? Wuhan is back to lockdown big time. How's that for a pool party?
But you know what the difference is?
What?
It was that China was trying to get their citizens to celebrate the Western decline, the fact that the West had to suffer and that they didn't.
Yeah.
And nobody's laughing at China right now.
No.
No one's sitting there going, idiots. Everyone feels bad for the fact that Chinese people have to go through this shit.
Yeah, of course.
Anyway.
So yeah, just to let you know, Wuhan now is in a bad way, and we've got this footage of the police. Is this not from the kid thing? I'm just thinking.
What's that?
Is this footage of all the cops and stuff? Is that not from the kid thing? The kid riots?
Which one?
This, the police stuff.
This is a compilation.
Okay, yeah, but is this not from Kid Riot?
Kid Riot is later.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that police. Anyway, the fact of the matter is Wuhan right now is under terrible lockdown. We'll tell you about Kid Riot in a minute. But it's under really bad lockdown right now, and it's kind of like back to the beginning. People are suffering once again under the draconian controls.
Oh, this is out of order, yeah. Sorry, this is Kid Riot.
Yeah, this is Kid Riot.
Go for it, Will.
Yeah, let's get...
I want you to see the Wuhan part.
Yeah, that's Kid Riot. I thought so. This is Wuhan. Over here, is it not?
No, this is the same clip, bro.
This one?
Yeah, same clip, dude. Keep going.
Okay.
Sorry, it's out of order. There's a lot of
this is Wuhan. Okay. And now in Wuhan, they're getting a bit annoyed, as you can tell. Tearing down testing stations. You see these testing stations, right? Those are choke points. Mm-hmm. If you want to either get in or get out, see, that's his Bayman over there, which means Northern Gate. Mm-hmm. If you want to go in or get out of, for instance, your apartment complex or a subway station or whatever the case may be, you have to go through these choke points where you get tested, right?
Yeah.
or you have to go line up to be tested. And the people here are like, obviously, screw that, and they're just breaking down the testing station so they don't have to be stuck getting tested every 5 minutes.
You know what's crazy is that, just pause it there, I just want some perspective. You know, like in the beginning when you saw people kind of rebelling against the whole zero COVID thing, it was like massive headline breaking news to have one little, almost like we had a handful of people inside of one apartment complex.
Yeah.
Kind of freaking out, and the cops show up. That became like, that would be like headline news in the West.
Yeah.
This is happening so often now. These massive protests and outlashings and like bringing in the SWAT teams, sometimes the military and stuff is pretty commonplace in China now.
Right.
I just want people to have perspective of how much this has changed. There is a boiling point, and I hate this perspective that, hey, people are just, you know, they're fine with it. You know what I mean?
No,
They're not.
They're not fine with it. So this is a clip from Guangzhou over here, where they're busy taking children off to quarantine camp. And that just...
4-year-olds.
Yeah, I mean, it just, again, it puts a different perspective on all of this, okay? Because now you're going to be separated from your parents. You're going to be taken off
separating the kids thing again.
Take you off to quarantine camp. It's rubbish, you know? It's a rubbish system. It's a very bad system. It's bad for humanity. What they're doing right now is disgusting. And the chemicals they keep spraying on everyone and everything and killing everything, you know, it's just, it's such a poorly executed idea. Yeah. And the fact that they keep going on with it is the biggest mistake that I think that China's made since the great leap backwards and the cultural devolution, what they're doing now. It's just, what are you doing? The zero COVID policy is destroying people's lives. It's destroying the economy. It's destroying China.
It is.
It's disgusting, you know? I don't understand why they have to be so belligerent and so freaking stubborn about it, you know?
Yeah.
It's bad. Don't do it.
No.
Anyway, so like I said, just it affects everyone. Now, maybe you could give a bit of background on what happened in Lanzhou. We were talking about Kid Riot. This is what we meant.
So with Kid Riot, some perspective here. In Lanzhou, up in northwestern China. So kind of like on the way to Xinjiang, basically.
Yeah.
But
Best
it's a
ramen ever.
Yes,
yeah,
amazing.
Lanzhou
Ramen, yeah.
It's great.
Anyway, long story short, a 3-year-old kid died, right?
Yes.
And he died because he was trapped in his apartment.
I think it was a girl.
A girl, sorry. Yeah. The kid died in the apartment, right? Mm-hmm. Now, what happened was there wasn't any emergency rescue staff that could get up to help the kid.
Because of the COVID restrictions.
Because of the COVID restrictions. Meanwhile, they weren't even able to get the kid out, even though only about 800 meters away, there's a hospital.
There's a hospital 850 meters away,
Right. Him or her, I can't remember if it was a boy or a girl.
Yeah.
To get the kid over there, right? And this could have been easily dealt with if you could break that simple rule because the kid needed to immediate medical attention.
Yeah,
right?
so the child was, incredibly sick. Mm-hmm. Okay, now, this is the most important thing is that there was time to save the child's life, okay? But they couldn't, because of the COVID restrictions, save the child.
Yes.
And I mean, we've seen the footage. We're not going to show it to you, but we've seen the footage of the dead child. I mean, it's circulating around. It's terrible. And of course, all the residents are furious because nobody was willing to help the child. And then the official announcement from the Lanzhou Public Security Bureau was what?
So they said that the gas stove in their apartment, it went off, so the child asphyxiated, right?
Yeah. They blamed it on the gas stove.
They blamed it on the gas stove. So this is what they put out there, and they basically used it as an opportunity to say, hey, everyone be mindful of your gas stove. Yeah. Be really careful and safe. Mm-hmm. The public lost it. Yeah. They went absolutely crazy because think about it. You have officials covering up the death of this child that was due to malpractice and due to the zero COVID policy. Everyone freaks out. So they bring in the SWAT team. They bring in the military. Have a look. Yeah.
Yeah. So, they blamed it on the gas leak. And whether it was a gas leak or not, the child is, sick but still alive and needs medical attention. Yeah. Whether it was a gas leak that caused that or not doesn't freaking matter. Yeah. It's the fact that the COVID restrictions are blocking people in their houses and not allowing people to get medical attention when they need it.
Yes.
So, the residents kind of went wild. And we've seen a huge and that's why earlier I was saying the military stuff was kid riot, because they had to bring in the military and riot teams and stuff to stop.
It was huge.
Yeah, there was a very big uprising because of the death of this child. So people have had it. They're like, "What are you doing here?" You know?
Right.
Yeah, you can see them coming in. I mean, to think that all of this crap is over, what is now pretty much just a mild flu.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You have to bring in the military. Children are dying, not from the disease, but because of the disease, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know? Because of the handling of the disease.
Yeah.
What was the point of that? They all came up with their riot shields and
Let's show a presence, right?
and then ran off to the next place.
He wanted to show that huge clip. That was also part of that.
Yeah. I can go back to
just a quick glimpse, but this is kind of what unfolded here in Lanzhou.
Yeah.
They had to really deploy a lot of people to stop the protests because, you can block all you want on the internet, but word of mouth, your neighbor tells you, "Hey, did you hear this kid died?"
Yeah.
Because of zero COVID, and that might happen to our apartment complex.
Sure.
What about the kids here? And people get riled up.
Yeah. What
They're
about
like, hey,
the
you're
old
right.
people? Yeah.
Let's take this shit down, right?
Mm-hmm.
So people lost it, and rightfully so.
Yeah. So there's been a lot of craziness.
A lot of unrest.
Yeah, really. Like we said, China's on the brink of something big here because it's all been happening at the same time.
Yeah.
All these iPhone factories, the Lanzhou, uprisings here, the Wuhan lockdowns again. It's all suddenly just ramping up. And, it just once again shows you how stupid these greedy investors are to throw their money into China.
I mean, you gotta be sick.
Yeah.
You gotta be sick, and you gotta be a greedy piece of shit, kind of like a Hollywood villain.
Yeah, like a Weinstein or something.
Yeah.
You gotta be Weinstein.
You basically, if you're investing in China right now,
Yeah.
you gotta have something massively wrong with your ball sack.
Yeah, exactly.
It's gotta be that figure.
Yeah, exactly. You got to be weird. Yeah, no, look, it's a real crazy situation, and the government has been telling all the local government leaders to resolutely double down on zero COVID.
Yeah.
So all this one rumor that went out there that they might relax they might look at ways to relax it in March. Now people are like, yes, let's invest.
I'm telling you, they're at the gates going.
Like freaking animals, starving
seriously.
animals.
What are you doing?
Throw us a crumb, China.
A bit, just a wee strand of wool, please.
Yeah, it's freaking annoying. You know what I mean?
It's like
when you're seeing how people's lives are being destroyed all over China, but you're like, yes, now's a good time to invest.
Yeah.
It's frustrating.
Get what's mine,
Yeah, it's frustrating.
Shit. Stop, you absolute wanker.
I know, that's all they are. They're just wankers. Fucking investment wankers, instead of an investment banker.
Yes.
In fact, an investment banker is a slang for wanker in Cockney slang.
It is because it's rhymes.
He's a right investment banker, that bloke. Anyway.
Yeah, we're gonna go. Don't worry, all of you guys that are trying to make a segue into Germany. It's coming.
Yeah, it's coming. Don't worry, we'll talk about it. All right, let's hit our next segment. Okay, what do you think? Are we gonna answer some super chats?
I'll do a couple. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll line us up for the next thing.
Star Border said in Chinese, "I have no money, so I'm gonna use Chinese characters." Sorry. Schultz is in Beijing talking about Xinjiang. He wants to sell BioNTech to China. Crazy. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
Hey, Power Shift says the last season of Undercover Asian Boss involves Xi Jinping going undercover at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. It's a real bummer of an ending.
You mean Asian toss?
Just wanna smile says, I hate hearing people tell me about how great China is for making most of their solar panels. People never looking into anything far enough for themselves. Yeah, you're right. Jerry Huang says, it's funny how Brian said that. I'm assuming you mean Brian Balsack.
Yeah.
Brian Balsack said that using the term CCP instead of CPC is rude, despite being used by his non-Chinese friends in Chinese state media.
Yeah, that guy's just an agent,
Actually, Jerry Huang, he made a video about that. It's actually really good, so go check Jerry Huang out for another channel. Good. Tim Vogt says, I'm so excited. I'm going to sign up to watch Monday's show this weekend.
Good.
Thank you very much, by the way. Can I get a You Gotta Understand China?
You gotta understand China.
I bet you can.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to Wumao Corner, guys. Now, this time around, we're going to be talking about the haters, but we're also going to be putting out a bit of I suppose, a warning of sorts to people on Reddit and so on. And we don't want to be actually helping them do what they want to do, but let's just see what's been going on over here.
Yeah, so what's been going on is the Chinese government have been employing Wumao to go after Chinese people on the free internet.
Yes.
So basically
on the real internet.
On the real internet. To basically go track people down on Reddit. So Chinese people that are in China using VPNs to go on Facebook,
or
Reddit,
even diaspora.
Or diaspora. But mostly Chinese people.
Yeah.
Because they can track them down a lot easier.
Sure.
And they're saying, hey, we know where you are. We know what you post on. You better be careful. Don't break the law. Yeah. And this is a great example of what Wumao are. When they're not attacking other people in different countries for slandering China, they're attacking mostly their own people.
Yes.
For daring to participate and criticize the Chinese government on the free internet, as we call it.
Yes, yes.
So don't want to tell them be careful. Just be aware of like what watermarks you're leaving around.
Here's the thing. I mean,
so you can hide.
There's something that I've always said, that we have a certain privilege here, and our privilege is that we're foreigners.
Yeah.
Well, obviously we're not. Yeah. When we were in China, we're foreigners, and we're also foreigners to China. So, if we criticize the Chinese government, we will become an enemy. We will be attacked.
Yeah.
But the repercussions against us are far less than the repercussions against the Chinese national.
Yeah.
Because they will absolutely destroy their lives.
Yeah.
And they will go after their family, and they will make every piece of their life a living hell.
Yeah.
So if you are a Chinese person who speaks out against the Chinese government, you need to protect yourself and make sure that you're very careful about remaining anonymous online, basically. Because, you can see some of these comments here. They're saying things like, watch out your speeches here. Someone posted something against China and got called by police. What you said are bullshit and anti-China. How dare you post things like this? The Facebook, Reddit, and Twitter are anti-China apps. Behave yourself. Do you think you are safe to talk here? China has unofficial groups in Reddit to watch you traitors. That kind of nonsense.
And they do. They're not lying.
No, they do. So yeah, just
you know what's crazy too is that there are so many subreddits that are Chinese language for Chinese people subreddits that are anti-CCP that have been shut down. Yeah. Yet there are so many pro-CCP ones like Sino and Genzadong.
You know why? Because and this is why we find it's very unfair with a lot of what we do on YouTube, is that the Chinese government employs these unscrupulous piece of shit Wumao to go out and mass flag.
Yeah.
So they will go out and they'll see there'll be a subreddit that's anti-CCP.
Yeah.
Okay? So they will all go and mass flag it as being like hurtful and defamatory.
They'll say this person, they used my information. That's me.
Or they just flag it as being like politically insensitive or bad or racist or whatever.
Doing it.
And because of but the thing is, it's the mass flagging.
Yeah.
It's this huge, they've got unlimited resources to go and flag and complain about things. And so Reddit has a terms of service, right?
Yeah.
And they'll look at certain things, and if there's enough complaints saying that it's racist or it's whatever, they'll be like, okay, and they shut it down.
Right.
The difference is that the groups that are anti-CCP, number one, they don't have the numbers, and number two, they're not petty enough to go and do false flagging runs and so on other groups that are that are pro-China.
That's right.
So that's why you get the pro-China subreddits and the pro-China people out there. They never have to suffer this relentless attacks of mass false flagging that we do. That's why, my last video got age restricted. If you go look at my channel, which destroys a video, by the way, it got age restricted, but other channels that showed the exact same footage didn't. Not at all. It's a completely unfair thing. Anyway, let's move on to something that's kind of ridiculous here, and that is the Chinese fishing boats. Okay, so a Chinese fishing boat tried to ram a U.S. Coast Guard ship as others fled inspection. So, the the illegal Chinese fishing fleets that go and destroy the oceans, right? You know about those.
Yes.
So, not that long ago, they were surrounding the Galapagos Islands and just like, for lack of a better word, raping the sea, like just constantly. So U.S. Coast Guard in international waters, approached to inspect to check like what they're doing.
Sure.
And while they tried to, inspect, one of the Chinese fishing boats tried to ram the Coast Guard.
What? Why?
So that the others could escape. The others that have got like all the endangered
like
species, because they've got hammerhead sharks
All
and
kinds of
Galapagos
crazy
turtles
stuff,
and who knows what
Rare
else,
sea
like
cucumbers.
rare seafood on the board, just packed to the
Sure.
brim, like the last member of a specific species, that they've killed now, so
Yeah.
it's now extinct, that
Right.
kind of thing. They ran away. But this is not out of the ordinary. I've got some footage here to show you Chinese fishing boats ramming ships. So this is a Chinese fishing boat ramming a Japanese Coast Guard ship. And then here's Vietnamese. Basically, what's happening behind us here is there's a Chinese squid fishing ship ramming a Vietnamese fishing boat and actually capsizing it.
Là sau khi đâm chìm tàu cá của Việt Nam, tàu Trung Quốc không hề có động thái để cứu người, thể hiện sự vô nhân đạo của tàu Trung Quốc.
I want people to remember that Vietnam and China
Việt
are
Nam
not
được
friends.
lực
No.
lượng kiểm ngư Việt Nam đưa vào bờ để đánh giá mức độ thiệt hại và làm bằng chứng tố cáo tàu.
There's an American Coast Guard vessel. Okay. Yeah, see? U.S. Coast Guard. That's U.S. Coast Guard.
Nice
It's-
shot.
Yeah, it's kind of nice.
That's a nice shot,
Yeah, it's
too.
really sweet. I like it. Yeah, that's a cutter, by the way. That's a Legend class, I believe. They're very big. So I thought I'd like put them side by side, and I see a lot of similarities there. You know what, China? How about you make your own ship for once? Okay, look how they copied the Coast Guard. Even just that it's very distinctive. The U.S. Coast Guard's got the red and
Yeah.
blue, kind of like a racing
It's red,
stripe.
white, and blue.
Yeah, it's red, white, and blue. I guess just like America, right?
Well, does
So-
that make sense? Why would China use red, white, and blue?
I don't know, because just copying it. But the China one has got, instead of one blue line, they've got 4 blue lines and 1 red line. But it's
Why
the
don't
same
they use
thing.
red and yellow? That's the Chinese flag.
Yeah, I mean, I guess because they see it as, that's like powerful
That's what you're
maritime.
supposed to
You're
look
supposed to do that.
like.
But the fact that they even copy the racing stripe thing,
Yeah.
they just kind of mix it up a little bit there.
Right.
It's kind of pathetic. I just wanted to put that in there. It's like,
Yeah.
come on, China, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Make your own shit for once, please. Anyway, so yeah, they didn't end up ramming the American Coast Guard ship, and I feel like if they did, they'd have some trouble.
Yeah, I don't like. Unlike Japan and Vietnam.
Yeah, they just do it all the time. You know the Parcel Islands.
Yeah.
So China decided, that's disputed, by the way. The Parcel Islands, that area is like, Vietnam's like, that's our waters, and China's like, no.
It's right next to Vietnam.
Yeah, it's right next to Vietnam. China's like, no, since ancient times, we found a map once, that we totally didn't manufacture that map. We
No.
totally didn't just draw it like
No,
with a
we found
pencil.
it in a treasure chest.
Yeah, we found it,
Yeah.
Well, we found the blank piece of paper, and then we had someone take a pen and draw something on it. Anyway, fact of the matter is, they're like, that belongs to us. So it's disputed waters. What does China do? They go put an oil rig in it.
Yes.
They just drop an oil rig right there at the Parcel Islands,
Yes.
start pumping oil out, and then they send their Coast Guard there and start harassing and capsizing Vietnamese fishing ships and stuff that are nearby.
Yeah.
Actually killing Vietnamese people. Like, a couple of the sailors or
died.
whatever died, fishermen died. But they're just belligerent bullies. They're just like, what the hell? They just do what they want, and people are like, okay,
Yeah, that's fine.
yeah, whatever. I think we need a shift in attitude.
Yeah, seriously.
Like the world needs to shift their attitude towards these illegal fishing vessels.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they act as a militia.
They do.
And they're just disgusting. And they
Unofficial militia.
They're ramming people left and right,
Yeah.
Just
Getting rammed.
Yeah, they're just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anyway, raping the sea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, another little funny Wu Mao thing is someone posted this, like, It says, YouTube, if you show disturbing stuff, we won't run ads on your video. The YouTube ads. What is this advert for?
This is literally someone from our subreddit, right?
Yeah.
They're like making a joke saying like, if we show anything moderately disturbing or even minorly disturbing, we don't get ads, right?
Yeah, we get completely demonetized.
Not even disturbing, just like even on the cusp of being like, oh, that's, somebody pushed someone.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, womp, womp, woo, woo.
Yeah,
No ads for you, right?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they should, when they do show ads, have some raw rabbit skin from Europe frozen. And this is from
Alibaba.com.
by the way.
Great advert. Now that's disturbing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks for the skin rabbits.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, kind of ridiculous. Well, remember Bannerman,
Yeah, I do.
Bridgeman,
Bannerman, whatever you want to call him. Tankman 2.0.
Yeah. Well, people are now starting to create Wi-Fi hotspots using his slogans.
His demands.
Yeah, his demands, which I think is kind of cool.
Yes.
That's another way that'll be hard for people to say who's doing that.
Yep.
Because, you could have a mobile hotspot, which you can give it whatever name you want, right?
You could. And it's open Wi-Fi on those ones, I see.
Yeah, it's open. You probably don't want to join it.
Probably not, but it's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
To get any way to get his slogans out there, it's showing you that the movement hasn't died.
No.
It is wild, though.
Yeah. Now, we got a pretty funny one here, okay? So let's set this up for you. We all know that the Chinese government employs certain foreigners, right? Mm-hmm. We call them shills.
Yeah.
They're basically, for lack of a better word, they're kind of like traitorous.
Yeah, it's like they go, okay.
Yeah.
I'll set this up very simply before you get into this. You have a situation in China where the Chinese government knows that if they use somebody that's not Chinese, particularly Westerners usually.
Yeah, white people.
White people. They have this absolute fascination with white people, which is, that's why you get white monkey jobs in China.
Yeah.
Basically doing a job just because you're white.
Yes.
Or a different race. Anyway, you get a situation where the Chinese government says, hey, if we have all these horrible policies and we restrict freedoms on people and we do all this stuff that makes people's lives horrible, but we get, we sell it to our citizens by getting white people to say it's good, then it'll be an easier sell. And that's how you get these positions where you got these white dudes sucking off China, right, for lack of a better words, and promoting the Chinese oppression, genocide. They'll make them do the most heinous shit.
Yeah.
Like say that it's good that they're genociding Uyghur people because they're terrorists.
Sure.
They'll get them to go out there and tell the Chinese people, yes, we support censorship because it keeps your country safe.
Yes.
I like that
zero
you're
COVID's
censored.
great.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
That kind of nonsense.
And they get people to do this because, they'll pay them, obviously. They'll usually pay them in views, in reputation. It could be in
monetary
jobs,
incentive.
They have monetary
jobs.
Incentive.
This guy in particular works for Chinese state media.
Yeah.
Okay. And he makes videos that are saying things like there's no genocide in Xinjiang or whatever.
Yeah.
So a person commented on his video and said, I can see you got paid handsomely. Hopefully you live with that the rest of your life. Karma will get people like you. If it's not Uyghurs, people's tears and bloods. Okay. And so this is the guy who works for Chinese state media.
Set up what he probably, what did he do?
He made a video.
He made a video. Okay.
Yeah. So he made a video basically saying that there's no genocide. It's all fake. It's all Western propaganda type thing.
Okay.
Usual type thing.
China's scot-free.
Yeah. And China did nothing wrong. CCP did nothing wrong. They only help Uyghur people.
Yeah.
So he replied, said, I can see you didn't watch the video. I feel very good about spreading the truth. How many times have you been to Xinjiang? How many Uyghur friends do you have? 0 and 0. So zip it. You're getting muted now, buddy. The problem is that the person that he said that to happens to be
a Uyghur woman,
an actual Uyghur activist.
A Uyghur woman. Have you been to Xinjiang? Yeah. No. How many Uyghur friends do you have? No. And then denies genocide.
It's like 0. Yeah. How many times have you been to Xinjiang? 0. How many Uyghur friends do you have? 0. So zip it. Turns out that she is actually, she was named on a Chinese blacklist, says she's experienced online trolling, nasty messages and malware. Of course, she is Australian Uyghur activist. She is a Uyghur.
What a sick man.
Yeah.
That's just so messed up.
It's really messed up. Yeah.
A person with ties to the genocide in Xinjiang.
Yeah.
Victim. just got yelled at by a white dude that said there's no genocide in her land.
Yes, and told her that she's never visited her own land, her own country or whatever, her own place, and has no of her own friends. Like, what the hell? So it just shows you how out of touch a lot of these guys are, you know? Anyway.
I mean, that's like...
That's just such a good Wumao thing, you know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. Anyway, I guess worldview?
Well, we'll tell you about our Monday show first.
Oh, we're going to tell you about the Monday show. Okay. All right, before we hit worldview, then let me line it up for you. Otherwise, it'll look weird. I'm kind of looking at a black screen over here.
Yeah, a black screen of death over here.
Don't know why. But yeah,
there we go.
We had a really good Monday show.
We did. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you to the people that joined. I can safely say that a lot of people's minds were blown.
Yeah. Well, let's just show you. Let's show you what it's all about. Yeah. Hey, it's Halloween. Let's do something ridiculous.
What I mean,
I got the knife. Let's be honest. Life is actually pretty dull.
Simultaneously dull and horrible.
But every once in a while, a circus rolls into town.
Chubby 40, 50-year-old woman, and she'll get naked in a booth, and all the men will pay a little bit of money to go see it.
They bring these like middle-aged strippers to come and dance for the dead people. But it's kind of funny that someone like this would get into trouble for dressing up like Xi Jinping like that. You know? Yeah, so that was the Monday show, guys. Hopefully we can catch you over there. If you are interested in watching the Monday show, it's called Shaban Ho. It's kind of like a VIP club. You can go to our Patreon and join the Shaban Ho tier. We really hope to see you there. It's a lot of fun, barrel of laughs.
For your listeners, it's patreon.com/ADVPodcasts. And yeah, you got to join the Shaban Ho tier, and I promise you'll have a good time. Also, by the way, just want to shout that out. Can you push that Patreon thing again?
I can.
Something very important.
If you really want me to. Here you go.
The Discord opened on the Patreon.
Yeah.
So if you go to patreon.com/ADVPodcast, all levels, all tiers, get access to the Discord. It's rolling. It's already populated. People are having a great time on there. There's voice chat. There's a meme submission. There's a general chat. We've been hanging out with people in there. It's super, super fun. So definitely go in there and join that. And when you join any tier, it'll ask you somewhere in there if you want to connect your Discord. It's like connected apps. Just do that and you'll be in there.
Yeah, good. So we're hoping to see you over on the Discord server if that's your
really fun.
bag, you know, if that floats your boat, so to speak. And now it's time for us to get into Worldview, guys, where we talk about everything in the world, specifically with regards to China.
Yeah.
And today we are going to start out by talking about Germany. And why does Germany always make these mistakes?
I mean, guys,
let's just.
I don't
what
want
happened?
to say what I think a lot of people are saying. Okay, but what I will tell you is German Chancellor Scholz, this guy that was supposed to represent a government in Germany that was going to be less reliant on authoritarian powers.
Yeah,
just went to China to meet Xi Jinping to discuss the furthering of economic ties.
Yeah.
And I'm not even joking. We got the EU.
Yeah.
We got America. We got all these countries. We got Japan. We got all these countries that are like, we need to like chill out on the China stuff.
Yes.
They have clearly declared themselves as kind of the 21st century enemy of the free world. They're doing human rights atrocities out the wazoo.
Yeah.
And we can't, if we're going to be declaring Russia as an enemy and cutting ourselves off from Russia, probably got to do that with China too. Kind of, we're in this shift where it's either authoritarianism or it's democracy, right? Yeah. And the whole world is kind of banding, or the whole free world is kind of banding up and saying, yeah, let's not go down the Russia-China route. Right? Yeah. Let's kind of take a step back and try to be less reliant on brutal authoritarian regimes.
Sure.
You have Germany, which apparently has plugs in its ears.
Yeah, of course.
And gets on a plane, does a 7-day quarantine, gets swabbed, and then goes on Chinese land to go bow down to Emperor Xi and say that, hey, since this whole Russia thing's not working out, let's keep this going. Right?
Sure.
And not only is the EU freaking out, but people in Germany have been reaching out to us saying, this does not represent our country. This doesn't represent us. How are we doing this again?
Yeah.
capitulating to a genocidal regime. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Right? It's absolutely crazy.
Honestly, I keep saying this. Of all the countries, I think Germany is the one country that should understand what's going on with the Uyghurs the most.
Yes.
They're the ones that should probably be doing their absolute best to avoid being associated with a Holocaust.
Ellen says Germany is pretty bad at reading the room. At least the chancellor.
Yeah,
is.
chancellor. But seriously, from people that we know that are German, which is kind of limited, to be honest, but the German
people that reach out,
the people that we do know that are German are very against this. Okay, so it's obviously just politics once again.
It's so bad though, because like that Costco brand, right? Not Costco.
Yeah, Costco. The Chinese knockoff name of Costco.
Yeah. They got a stake in the Port of Hamburg, right?
Yeah.
And it was his doing.
Yeah,
It was
a huge
his
stake
doing.
as well.
Yeah, huge stake.
They're basically buying up all over the place. It's kind of gross. It's kind of disgusting.
Wicked gross.
Yeah.
And the not the worst thing, but the most telling thing was when Schultz showed up, right?
Yeah.
I got a clip here.
It's getting there.
This very long here. So you got Xi Jinping, he's just rolling, right?
Okay, let's go.
So Schultz rolls up, right? He got an A ni hao.
A
ni hao. So
that's just like the most crappy. It's like saying sup, yo. Not even that. It's like yo. It's like just
China,
yo.
you can speak from the Western perspective. I'll speak from the Chinese perspective.
Sure.
In China, if there's somebody that's important, or somebody that's older than you, or somebody that's like you're supposed to address, right? You don't throw a ni hao.
You don't
throw
ni hao
is just
you don't throw an A ni hao.
A ni hao. That's kind of like
A is worse. It's more casual.
It's kind of like you're talking to you call someone, hey, I need my water meter checked or something on the phone.
You're talking to like a lower person.
Yeah,
like
that's what it comes out.
Like in a restaurant to like a waitress or something.
Yeah, and it's
even worse.
In China, it's a huge slap in the face.
Well, I mean, especially Germans are very particular on their titles, Right. And I think if you
similarly, right?
If you've got a doctor or a chancellor or whatever there, you don't say like, "Yo."
Yeah.
You'd be like, Good afternoon, Dr. Schultz, or whatever.
Or chairman, or
whatever.
President,
or at least Mr.
Chancellor.
Yeah.
Chancellor. They would call him Chancellor, right?
Yeah.
German Chancellor Schultz.
Yeah.
Or at least a translation of that.
But all he got from
Xi
Jinping was an A ni hao, and it's just a casual shit A ni hao as well. Didn't even have any feeling.
That's like, that's as low as it goes.
Wait, let's listen for it. Here it comes. There we go.
That's as low as it goes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just wild. It's just wild.
Yeah. Xi Jinping's camera face is ridiculous. Watch how he stares at the camera. He's like, okay, I'm going to put my camera face on. Pay attention to his face. It's so ridiculous. Yeah, see? Camera face.
Yeah, just so he can fill up deposit photos. Schultz looks like he's about to shit his pants. He's like crying.
Yeah.
What is so awkward? You know when someone's like, take my picture and it's actually filming, and then you watch the clip back.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
This is what it is. It's like A ni hao.
He got an A ni hao.
It's like,
it's such a dismissive thing. It's almost like, of course you came to my country.
Yeah.
To come beg for scraps, basically.
Yeah. Yep. Not good.
No.
What's this?
Oh, so you know that whole code thing on the app? So basically, if you get into an area in China where there's like a case, a COVID case, your app will turn red, and if you're in like a lockdown area, or will turn yellow, and if you're in a lockdown area, it'll turn red, right?
Yeah.
So Shanghai got locked down, particularly in Disneyland.
Right.
So all these people were in there, like 20,000 people.
Yeah.
And then they were like, no, Disneyland, you're going into lockdown. And everyone got trapped in Disneyland.
Yeah, I mean, it could be, there are worse places to be trapped, but not when you got such a crowd, though.
No, for sure. But, the crazy thing about it was it's such a smear on Disney's brand.
But you know what happened before? This is the second time now.
This is the second time now, and Disney's still rolling. Like, it's such a bad look to Disney. I feel like this is a good wake-up call. Why are you operating in a genocidal authoritarian dictatorship that can do this? Because it really, you think these people want to go to Disney now?
Yeah, you get stuck there.
You've ruined your reputation.
I feel like, you know, the 10th day in a row of It's a Small World After All, and you're just like, enough.
You know what would be crazy?
What?
Is if they still charged people for the, because everything's like, like a soda, like a Coke, and Disney's like $15 or something ridiculous, right? So imagine if you had to pay all those prices the entire time.
I wonder if they still run the attractions or not. Probably not.
I doubt it.
Not under quarantine. I wouldn't think so.
No. For sure, no.
Yeah, it's kind of crappy, to be fair.
Yeah, it's a small world after all. It certainly is when you're trapped in freaking Disneyland.
Do you remember just before they opened? Just before Disneyland opened, it was kind of funny. There were these IEs. Okay, we talked about IEs last time, right?
Women.
The middle-aged women. There was these. This. I don't know if it was more than one, but I think there was an IE and her husband were taking a mianbaoche at night and stealing the flowers.
Yes.
Because they have all those bouquets. Yeah, that's just before it opened. You know, they have all these like really beautiful gardens and things Disney sets up. So they go at night and steal all the flowers, and then
they're like mad expensive.
Yeah, right? Go and sell them or whatever, and they keep doing. Cost millions of dollars worth of flower damage or whatever. Yeah, it was a stupid amount.
It was crazy.
They were just going at night and stealing all the flowers from Disneyland.
Hey, they're free, right?
Well, yeah, I guess. So yeah,
anything's free.
Sure, if you're an IE, if it's there, yeah.
Anyway,
so yeah, that's Disneyland locked down once again in Shanghai with people inside of it, and that sucks. And to be honest, it all sucks. If you have to be in a situation where you can be incarcerated on a whim, what are you doing, guys? I mean, I keep having these arguments with people, stupid, frivolous arguments with people on Reddit who are always asking, like, hey, I just got a job offer in Shanghai or whatever. Like, should I go?
Which district should I live in?
I'm like, what are you doing? Why would you go?
And the people in Shanghai are like, what are you doing?
Like, don't come. And one thing you have to realize is that if you're listening to a foreigner that's currently in Shanghai, for instance, don't listen to their advice because they're trying to justify their existence or justify their reasons for being there. So they downplay it.
Sure.
And you don't get the full news out of China because the bad stuff, the terrible things that are happening under all these lockdowns are being censored by the government. So you don't get access to that information.
No.
So
to be fair, there's a lot of people in Shanghai that are telling the truth.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But I'm saying state media that you see coming out of China is all whitewashed. They whitewash all the bad stuff and they just make it look like roses and rainbows all the time. Yeah. And then the foreigners that are stuck in Shanghai, for instance, or whatever, yeah, they'll complain, but they're also downplaying the bad stuff because they have to justify their existence there. You know? Like, why did they choose to stay?
Exactly. You know what's even more important is...
That's not important at all.
Someone reminded me.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it for world news. We're going to move on to our Q&A section. Yamcha, guys. This is where we get to relax. I get to loosen the tie. We get to answer your super chats and have a good time. Stays up for the weekend. We cut it out on Monday, so you can watch it now live or watch it on the weekend. But if you're a patron of any level, you can, see the whole episode and any of the previous whole episodes. We keep the whole thing with all the Q&A and all that in there. So, yeah. So we get started. What do we got? Oh, yeah. And for those of you who aren't watching now or on the weekend, stay also